This anime does so many things right. The setting is beautiful, the characters super duper cool, the jokes, they be hitting sometimes. But one of the main things that gets it so much praise is how it starts conversations about religion and the philosophy of equivalent exchange. You know how many times I had to practice? Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is a shonen anime. That means that the target audience is teenage boys. So how do you get teenage boys to care about religion, politics, philosophy, all that boring old people stuff? You make it the coolest show to ever grace this planet. This guy snaps his fingers and lights people on fire. This dude grabs people by the face and he's like, I'll give you a moment to pray to God. He got an eye patch, so you already know what that means. I don't have to explain it. And then we have our main character, Edward Elric, the Fullmetal Alchemist. No, the other guy. Yeah, him. Ed is one of the few very talented alchemists who dared to commit the taboo of human transmutation. He just wanted to see his mother again. But the law of equivalent exchange says that to obtain, something of equal value must be lost. That raises a very important question that sets the tone for the entire story. What could Edward and his little brother Alphonse give that has equal value to the life of their mother? Everything was in place. The elements, the transmutation circle, the soul data. But instead of seeing his mother's face again, Edward was met with truth. There's no way to bring people back from the dead. And even if there was, it would cost way more than you're able to give. At 11 years old, Edward's childhood was ripped away from him. He went from living a pretty peaceful life in the middle of nowhere to being orphaned because after his father left, his mother got sick and tragically passed. In trying to piece his family back together, he studied alchemy day in and day out, only to be met with tragedy once again. He turned his brother Al into a hollow suit of armor, and no one really blames him for it. No one except Edward himself. He thinks that there has to be an explanation. Everything happens for a reason. So if he finds out the reason, maybe he can reverse the outcome. After all, those are the teachings of alchemy. But alchemy can't fix everything. As Edward learned pretty early in life, the truth is cruelest to those with pure intentions. But what is truth? Truth is different depending on who's looking at it. What Edward saw in there after the rebound, it was everything. Life, death, the universe, the past, the future, and everything in between. But seeing and knowing are not the same thing. You can only see truth as you are right now. That's why it shows up as your reflection. So we have an 11-year-old orphan boy who just trapped his brother's soul in a metal prison. Now give him the knowledge of everything in the universe. What kind of person do you think he would become? Nihilistic, resentful, lonely? Edward doesn't just think there's a better way to live. He knows it. He's seen it with his own eyes. Anything is possible. He knows that things could be different, so why does it still hurt? Why is the real answer hidden behind so much fog? He wants his body back. He wants his brother's body back. He wants his humanity back. No matter what it takes. This show manages to put the biggest smile on your face, and then it makes you curl up in the fetal position, bawling your eyes out in the span of like 20 minutes. They do it in one episode. Take episode 4, for example. Not 40, 4. You're watching this little girl play with her dog. You got Ed and Al running around, they having fun, and then boom, the girl is the dog now. Her father fused her with the dog so that he can prove to the military he's still a respectable scientist. What the Ed and Al come across a lot of subhumans like this who are willing to pretty much do anything to fulfill their sick, twisted desires. They work for the military, so they know what the people of this world are capable of, but coming face to face with something like that and being powerless to do anything is just crazy. They better than me though, because if I was there, this man would have been given plants and nutrients and all that, bruh. He would have been compost, he would have been worm food, he would have been all of that. He would have been finished. Oh, Edward is a very persistent person. Every waking moment of his life is spent trying to find a way to get his brother's body back. Like when he finds out what a Philosopher's Stone is made of. The Philosopher's Stone is like steroids for alchemists. If steroids can make you immortal after sacrificing a few human souls, then yeah. So this thing that seemed like the perfect solution to Ed and Al's situation comes with a lot of baggage. But even still, Edward doesn't give up. He still searches for some other way to get Al's body back that won't get anyone else hurt. And as noble as his intentions are, he still finds himself making a lot of enemies, which is proof that even if you stay out the way and get your bag, you still gonna have haters. That's crazy. Early on, the villains are very obviously bad people, like this dude, Isaac McDougal. I don't think anybody was truly sad to see him go. But as the story progresses, you start thinking, hey, maybe this Scar guy isn't so bad. Maybe he's just broken from watching his entire village get burned to the ground, thinking he was the only survivor, and now to cope with the loss of his brother, he uses the gift his brother gave him to get back at what he believes to be the power-hungry Amestrian military that started and then escalated the situation in the first place. Most of the characters fall somewhere between hero and villain. They're not good people necessarily. They've done some extremely terrible things, but at the end of the day, they're just doing what they believe is right, what they need to do to survive. Except him. He is a model citizen. He's the perfect example of lawful good. He's never done anything wrong in his life. He's the perfect. Come on, we can't have anything in this show, bro. The loss of a loved one is one of the most painful experiences that someone can have. These Amestrian soldiers experience that pain very often. It creates a world of broken individuals. Naturally, they get desperate to feel like all of this bloodshed means something in the end. Each time it looks like they've found a cure-all, something that can erase all of that pain, it creates more pain for someone else, and the cycle continues. One is all, and all is one. In the beginning of the third arc, Edward meets his father, Hohenheim, in their hometown. He's so angry with this man that he can't even look him in the eyes when they're talking. That's until Hohenheim says something that shows just how muddy Edward's judgment became after the death of his mother.
Tell me, Edward, what possessed you to burn down my home?
After what happened, we vowed to never turn back. We did it as a symbol of our resolve.
No, you didn't. You were hiding the memory. You didn't want to be reminded of what you've done, and thought you could erase the memory by destroying the evidence.
Edward got so laser focused on staying strong that he started to make some really crazy, borderline sociopathic decisions. No one in Ed's life expects him to be this stoic super genius that he presents himself as. Like Winry, who's been there since day one and is still helping him every time he gets his arm blown off or something. Her and Granny Panako are always there for Ed and Al, no matter how long it's been, no matter how badly they're hurting. Without the rock bells, Edward could have gone full-on Eren Yeager mode. I'm talking about and as cool as that would be, he would turn into the type of person that he hates the most. Someone who robs people of their humanity. Ed has seen some really messed up things. As a soldier, it comes with the territory. So with that, in the beginning of the show, he isn't filled with hopeful determination like most shonen heroes. He has this moral obligation to get Al's body back. The thing keeping Ed moving so fast is guilt. We see this whenever there's downtime in the early episodes. Edward is very traumatized, constantly having nightmares and flashbacks to that day, even though he burned down his childhood home as a symbol of their resolve. He's a 15-year-old kid with the weight of the world on his shoulders. So someone had to remind Edward of what he's doing here, who he is, who he's doing this all for. And who better to teach you a life-changing lesson than your deadbeat father? After Hohenheim scolds Edward about burning down his house, Panako invites him for dinner, and Ed overhears them talking about the night of the living. I really wrote that. So Hohenheim basically tells Panako that the thing they sacrificed their bodies for wasn't even their mother. So Ed decides to see for himself. The thought of digging up his mother's once resurrected corpse obviously makes him sick, But knowing the truth about that day could bring him one step closer to finding the truth within the truth. It turns out it wasn't his mother, and that it's true, there's no way to bring people back from the dead. At that moment, all he could do was laugh. The power that this monster held over him made him an empty shell, a vessel whose only purpose was to find a way to get his brother's body back. And now, it's an emblem of hope. With no one left to blame, taking responsibility for their failure, the Elric brothers have unshakable resolve. No two people see the same truth. So long as there are creators, there must be destroyers. In order to obtain, something must be given. That is the law of equivalent exchange and what it means to be human. It's the yin and yang. It's that little voice in your head that tells you to keep going in spite of everything you've seen and everything you've experienced. It's the time you spend with your family, your friends, your loved ones. All of that joy and pain is a reminder that you're alive. You're here. We're here. And our one common goal as humans is to share the short time we have with the people that we care about the most. Sometimes those people leave forever, and as much as we want to, we can't just bring them back. But we shouldn't feel guilty for it. There's a big world out there and so many people that haven't experienced the love that that person gave us. So we should cherish the time that we spend with them and continue to live on, sharing all the cool stuff that they introduced us to and the lessons that they taught us. Life is tough, but there's people out there that want to help you. Sometimes the equivalent exchange is as simple as, I do this for you and I get to see you smile again. I know it's easier said than done. Trust me, I've been there. Man, I'm still there. But once in a while, just try to remind yourself that you don't have to deal with. If you're wondering why I didn't talk about the ending, I want you to see it for yourself. I want you to interpret it for yourself and come to your own conclusions about what you believe is the message at the end of the show. But these were just my thoughts about it. If you have your own thoughts about it, let me know what you think. 'Cause I'm gonna definitely be reading all the comments. I want to hear what y'all gotta say. If you did like this video, I make videos like this all the time, so subscribe. I already know you like the video. You like the video off of that Japanese that I spit earlier. You heard me say, you were like, oh my God, I gotta like this video. So I appreciate that. Okay, so I want to shout out all of my Oh, I don't have any because I just made my Patreon. But if you want to be a patron, you can subscribe. It's like $3 a month. You feel me? You get to be in the outro. I'm gonna put your name in here. I'm gonna give you a big shout out. I'm gonna tell you how much I love and appreciate you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. I don't really have anything else to say. Bye.